All right, greetings, Aries. This one is for you. Thank you for being here. And we're going to do the same routine. No jumpers, no flyers, no reversals. We are going to have an oracle at the end, okay? I hope that helps you. Cards are well shuffled in advance. I go to the last second so that you guys are a witness. I'm going to do some more in just a second. Just want to do a little overview of the astrological weather. I like to call it the weather. So have a look. I know, freaky, isn't it? So I'll come back to this in a minute. I just want to do the basic information. This is just information, okay? We've got the new moon in Gemini on the 3rd. And flip over here. The full moon on the 17th. That's the Sagittarius moon opposing the Gemini sun. On the 21st, sun goes into Cancer. That's starting to build up quite a lot of pressure for you. Neptune flips to retrograde pretty soon. And on the 26th, Mercury goes to Leo, okay? So for you, Aries, you're one of the cardinal signs, okay? So I'm looking at things quite differently. I'm going to go to this, okay? Haven't done this before, but I'm sharing it now. I do it in private, but I'm sharing it now, okay? These are my trigger points for the month, okay? For everybody, but because you're a cardinal sign, it affects you probably more than others, okay? On the 6th, you see, with the Cancer Capricorn axis is very active all month, and we're not even into July yet with the eclipses, okay? So you can see here, this, and this. It's going on for the whole month, okay? So that's relatively quite stressful for you. And the stressors increase on certain days because of the moon, okay? Because the moon affects our feelings, and our feelings are very much influenced by the moment in our relationships, the ups and downs of all of it. So that's why I track the moon very carefully. So the hotspot trigger days are the 6th, 12th and 13th roughly, basically the moon in Libra. 14th, this is very, very sweet for everybody. It's a big fat water trine, again, very fleeting, but very nice break, from the rest of this. This is the same stressor as before, but the moon is in the other side now. Over here, the 26th, okay? Where the moon is right on top of you, okay? So it looks like this. I'm pointing out the stress points here. Okay, look, here's the 26th, okay? The moon is right there, and it really amplifies this T-square, okay? And that affects you as an individual, which has an impact on your relationships with other people, especially a significant other. And over here, around 11th, 12th, 13th, when the moon is cruising through Libra, the T-square is being triggered again over here. So throughout the month, we've got this ebb and flow of super stress, okay? Need to account for that. Now, there's nothing really lighting up your true love sector here, and this is the only thing that's lighting up your relationship sector. So how you handle this it's probably got to happen at a very internal level, okay? But it will impact your relationships because you as an individual are so impacted by these stress points, okay? Okay? Also, here's the full moon and the new moon. The new moon is over here on the 3rd. That's the Gemini sun with the Gemini moon. All about communication. So you might get these radical senses of new starts and new beginnings about greater clarity and in communications, the greater importance of your words. And same thing, the consequences of that and what it means for you on the grand sense in terms of higher consciousness, wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, especially with foreign people, foreign places. But again, it's not directly to do with relationships, but I wanted to point it out because it's actually quite harmonious for you. So this could actually soften up and sweeten up the month for you regarding love and relationship. All right, here we go. I'm going to use the Tarot Lumination Crucible spread. As you know, it's on the understanding that there's you, dear Aries, and a significant other, and the third entity, the invisible thing that you can't touch, which is actually called a relationship. Relationships have a life energy and purpose and meaning of their own. And you guys own that, whether you like it or know it or not. It really helps to be aware of the identity and nature of the relationship. It is a living thing. It has energy of its own, and that's why we go into it to such depth here, even though we're only using a very few cards, okay? So think of yourself as a cell phone. What kind of energy are you radiating? Where is the relationship radiating? What is the other radiating? Think of the relationship as a crucible. A crucible is a structure designed to withstand intense pressures, okay? Just like what happens in laboratories, just like what happens in human relationships, okay? Bless the cards, bless the deck, bless every single card, bless you, Aries. Invite your invisible friends. We need to do this, okay? That's what we do here. Okay, this would be you. What energy are you radiating? Over here, the other. What are they radiating? Deep inside of you, deep inside of the other, and here to the core, the relationship itself, okay? So I'm hoping you can see that this is kind of a bowl structure. This is the thing in which you guys live. This is called the relationship, okay? Where you intimate and you separate, where you intimate and separate, where you intimate and separate. So what is fermenting here? Okay, let's have a look. And then we're going to check out the weather that's around you. I like to think of it as the planets or your environment or your circumstances, okay? And you live in that. You guys live in that. This is not a couples reading. It's all about you, Aries. Singles, you can watch this if you want, but you have to allow for the laws of attraction and action. Okay, let's have a look. So you've got the Three of Swords. Okay, so this is, to me, this is like a warning. Okay, the Three of Swords, it's an energy of high conflict, and in other decks, this looks like a very, very painful card. And a lot of it's to do with stress in the head, and that affects everything else because we experience huge amounts of stress in our lives. A lot of it comes through our head, and like the thought processes, the intellectual awareness of what's not working, what is broken, where there is a fracture, maybe there is a triangulation, maybe there is a situation where you and the other need, let's see, mediation from a third party, some kind of reality check, or maybe like, you know how they release pressure on a pressure cooker so things don't explode? Think of this, like in another deck, I would say this is like a red engine light on your relationship around. In other words, surrounding you, Aries, which includes the other party and the relationship, is the energy of perhaps triangulation or stress, or the stresses of triangulation, or the stresses of potential betrayal, you to the other to you, circumstances to you, you to your circumstances, to the point where this would very easily lead to a lot of pain for you, perhaps, for the other, perhaps, in some way, shape, or form. Doesn't mean the end of the world, but it looks like we're reaching some kind of break point. And that doesn't surprise me when I look at this, okay? Because I see this as a lot of pressure. This, the Cancer-Capricorn axis, is a lot of pressure on Aries, okay? And that's not going away anytime soon. It's going to increase, in fact, in July. And these are the hotspot trigger days. So this is getting amplified by this and this. And that's putting a lot of pressure, okay, around you. I mean, you guys, for all we know, the relationship itself is rock solid. Maybe it's just wonderful, but surrounding you is a very, very difficult type of energy, okay? What are you radiating yourself, Aries? Okay, over here, strength. So with the strength card, my feeling is that you are, you're aware of this, okay? I think you're very, very clearly aware of this dynamic and, let's say, the circumstantial energy, the weather's around you, and it's really putting you under a lot of pressure where it's like a distillation process, especially, even more than fermentation, it's more like a distillation. Like, you know, when they're making spirits, they take these grains and things, or for example, let's take wine and they turn it into brandy. They'll, you know, wine starts with a fermentation process, which is very violent and brutal when you look at the yeast in the animals. And then it goes to a certain level. You can't take it any further. So to turn that into brandy, they distill it. And that is a very tough process as well. Or like with liquors of any kind, where it just puts a lot of pressure to eliminate all the things that are not relevant into a very desirable liquor, or liqueur, if you want to call it that. And we're taking it to the max, so to speak, where Like you're going through that process where your physical life, your world, your three-dimensional world, your physical body, your experience of life and love and relationship around you is going through a distillation through pressure. In other words, the pressure of distillation, you know, in order to get that refinement. And that refinement, the way that translates is into a higher frequency, higher vibrational way of being, where you're coming more and more into connection with your, let's say, higher self, higher consciousness. In other words, if you've been operating at, you know how they describe like twin flames and soulmates and karmic relationships and that operate at different frequencies of love. For example, if you're operating at a very physical, carnal, Venusian level, this looks like it would be taking things up more and more to what's happening at the higher octaves, going deeper and deeper into the soul, where you're dealing with the planets of Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, but especially Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, when you're dealing with the deep spirituality of the relationship. To me, it feels like you're under a lot of pressure, okay? It's external pressure, basically to grow, to come out of the more animal, egoic, unconscious self, the self that you know, and turn into a more refined, purified, clarified, distilled, more spiritually advanced, higher frequency, more loving being under pressure. Okay, what about the other? Okay, well, with temperance energy over here, to me it feels like you're very, very lucky, Aries, because there's someone in your life who is on your side and who wants you to advance and grow, evolve and adapt and blossom in yourself as an individual, as a being. And it's coming through a very stressful, painful distillation process in your relationship. So you, Aries, are relating with this someone over here who is doing like monumental efforts to maintain a very high degree of equilibrium, stability, balance in a very, very, very loving way that is ultimately about healing, okay? In other words, to me, it looks like they're on your side so that you can evolve from here to here, okay? Become even more the Aries than you could ever have become before. And it's like they are part of the distillation process. It's like they are actually the benevolent side of the distillation process. Whoever they are, however they're behaving, it's ultimately for your benefit. And I think that they benefit too, because it looks to me like they're actually loving the process of loving, okay? Bringing harmony, equilibrium, and balance and healing into the relationship. And in so doing, my feeling, I wouldn't be surprised at all, is if they receive something reciprocal from you. In other words, it's almost like the more challenging the external pressure, the more beautiful things become for you, Aries. It brings out everything that needs to be healed. It brings out the healing. It brings out literally the love and healing, okay? It literally, to me, it's like this triggers the healing power of love, okay? Things that are happening in your life and world and love and relationship that can only be triggered through pain. And then what do? Deep down inside, Two of Coins. Let's just admit it, this is tough. It's tough to do this. It's tough to hold this balance, to hold this equilibrium and stay grounded, stay present, stay conscious, stay here on earth. What's happening here, I think, in the relationship sector is that it's putting so much pressure on you. Whatever that is, you will know what that is, Aries, okay? I don't know what that pressure is, whether it's a third party involved, whether you've been betrayed or you're betraying someone and it's out in the open, or it's still like smoldering. It doesn't matter. This is a tremendous amount of pressure. It's like literally like a red engine light flashing on your around you, okay? Like pay attention, Aries. There are warning signs all around you to indicate that there's something very fractured, very, let's say, broken or damaged or potentially I'm not saying it's actually broken. What I'm saying here is that there's a lot of the crucible, the relationship itself, and you and the other are under tremendous pressure in some way, shape, or form. And you're feeling it at the gut soul level here, okay? Where you are at the soul level, you are doing everything you can to maintain equilibrium under incredible pressure, incredible duress, because you have love invested in this situation. You're at the soul level, you are very deeply invested, okay? About the other, we have the Ten of Cups, okay? It's almost like, they're enjoying this. It sounds bizarre. It's almost like, because this is a card of almost ultimate happiness. Maybe this is what they would like to wish for, what they have, but they're bringing in, to me, this looks like they're bringing in a tremendous amount of love, a tremendous amount of healing to you, to the relationship. And it's coming from a very, very deep, profound soul level, almost as though like whatever is happening on the three-dimensional plane, the material plane, the physical plane, all the stressors and factors, like that's not even the issue as far as they're concerned. The issue is all about love and healing and bringing the healing power of love into your love, your relationship from up above. Almost like they are literally almost like an angel of love and healing. The embodiment of an angel of love and healing. And it's like, you know, like they have in those, I can't remember the name of those spiritual movies. I think there's one called Powder. There's one called Michael. And there's one with that Irish girl from about 10 years ago. Anyway, just these incredible movies about the spirituality of love and relationship, as opposed to like, you know, who's getting off with who gets the car, who gets the house. And this is on a completely other level. And this is, to me, this feels like you, Aries, are living through an experience of an extremely stressful time period when not all of a sudden, but very, very gently from heaven above, you have this angelic presence in the form of a person, some person or other, who is truly on your side, but maybe not in a conventional way, but in a very, very angelic way, literally like an angel of love and healing. And they're bringing everything they've got because they want to share that with you, and they want you to have the experience of sharing that with them, okay? At the core, let's have a look. Queen of Wands. Okay, so my feeling is that as stressful as the events outside of you may be, what's happening is that, again, like through the distillation process, pretend Tarot Lumination is a master distiller of some kind of very, very special brew of, you know, liquor and whatever your favorite is. I particularly like something called Fernet Branca, and that has to go through a distillation. So my feeling is that what's happening in this distillation, which it's almost like it can only happen under incredibly stressful circumstances, you know? It's actually bringing out the best in you. Remember, this is not a couples reading, okay, Aries? It's all about you, and we're allowing for the supporting role. So what's happening is the relationship itself is showing all the hallmarks. Pretend I'm like the master distiller, and I'm looking at this, and it's fermenting, and it's like the stress levels are increasing, the heat levels are going up, everything is brewing and bubbling, and now it's actually working. The distillate is coming off. You're getting those tiny drips of the sacred, the most valuable liquor, the juice that you're trying to extract from the broth, okay, the broth of the broader spectrum of the relationship, okay? This stuff here, the raw animal three-dimensional side, we're going deep inside. So what happens is the relationship itself is starting to show all the hallmarks of a really fine brew, okay? Something really beautiful. And then you, Aries, start to notice this more and more over time, perhaps even spilling into July, where you realize the nature of what I'm trying to describe here in the relationship. You say like, oh, now I get it. It's just like under incredible stress, the relationship starts to shine and the good stuff starts to shine, and you understand more and more what this means between you and the other, between you and a significant other, whoever this may be, okay? Hopefully you would recognize this in a significant other. And so the relationship starts to glow. It has this like, oh, this is something beautiful here. You become an inspiration to others. It's almost like when you look at relationships as just this, and that's all there is, then the rest of the world would say, oh my gosh, what's going on with those two? There's something bizarre, magical happening. We don't know what it is yet, but that's the Aries person and that's the other person. What are they doing? And they can sense it. So there's a lot of like the inspiration, and like so the relationship shows this energy of inspiration. Like people can feel it. You, and including the other party in this relationship dynamic, are showing radiating energies that other people think like, wow, what's going on with them? That's so cool. I wish I could do that. What about this? Okay, let's have a look. 9 of Swords. Okay, to me this looks like the admission of all the pain that it takes to go through this distillation, the massive amount of stresses that become exposed, that need to become exposed. You know how I talk about this on the channel a lot. You've got to reveal it to heal it. And I think that's what's going on here. We have to reveal this and all the pain that comes from this in order to heal this, okay? Now, I don't have a recipe or a formula about how to heal, but all I'm saying is that the storyline here is that we're bringing this all to the surface. It's fermenting, it's distilling, and all like the previously ill-defined, undefined, undetectable stuff that obscures the relationship, basically all the stressors come to the surface so that they can be healed. You've got to reveal it to heal it. So this might be very much to do with communications, like communications breaking to the surface where things that have not been spoken need to be spoken, no matter how stressful and painful they are. And then once they are spoken, that's huge part of the healing. So I think that might be very much to do with this very harmonious aspect of the new moon and the full moon that is sitting very favorably for you, Aries, okay? I didn't plan on saying this, but I just kind of say it now. I look at it, I'm saving it to the last because all this red stuff is very stressful for you, but this is very sweet for you. And I think that's what's happening here. You got to reveal it to heal it, okay? And you learn so much from the revealing in order for the healing. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to squash this up, and I'm going to pull a little oracle for you, Aries, and hopefully this will just be like a little bit of dessert for the reading for you. I hope this made sense to you, and you can, transcribe this or reinterpret to suit you. I'm going to use the Romance Angels deck. Yay! I know. I'm not going to tell you what I think, but I just happen to love this little deck. I don't use it very often, but we're going to do it today. I'm just going to shuffle this. Cards are already well shuffled, and it's just a one-card oracle, and all I'm going to do is, you'll have to trust me, I'm going to pull one card, and that's going to be your card, and I'm going to give you my take on it, and then read from the book. And then you can do your own reinterpretations, okay? Here we go. I'm not ready yet. Stop. I stopped before I said stop because I knew it was going to happen. All right, here we go. It says reconciliation. Oh, whew, I'm really glad to see this. Someone from your past is returning to your life. Perhaps it's like a soulmate from another lifetime, something like that. Let's have a look. Here we go. right over here. There we go. Okay. All right, please bear with me. This could relate very easily to a soulmate coming into your life from the past and becoming more and more present in your life. Let's have a look. This card indicates that an ex-lover may be re-entering your life. This first person you think of is likely who it will be. The purpose of this reconciliation is to achieve healing and closure with respect to your past. This could be past life, okay? Someone coming into your life, in your world, in ways that in some ways are very beautiful, but also contain massive amounts of stress and broken pain and healing that needs healing from a past life where you were very loving, but something very awful happened. Maybe one of you hurt the other very badly. Maybe you were hurt very badly by the other, and now it's time to reconcile in this lifetime, to love and be loved again. Okay, it says, the purpose of this reconciliation is to achieve healing and closure with respect to your past. You will understand more about yourself and see your relationship patterns more clearly. You'll also take responsibility for the role that you played in the relationship's drama, which will free you from the tyranny of unforgiveness. Okay, so perhaps you might have brought a lot of pain on the significant other, and it was never healed, and now it needs to be healed. Okay? Reconciliations are ultimately about taking care of unfinished business. This card could also possibly mean making peace with a family member or friend. Each relationship is a sacred learning experience. Okay? So be open to this reunion's lessons and blessings. Ultimately, all healings help your love life and every other part of your world. Okay? I hope that helps you, Aries. I've done the best I can out of this reading for you right now. Watch for your sun, moon, and rising. You know the drill, of course. Also subscribe, like, comment. It really helps the channel, especially become a member. Check out the links below, okay? You'll see that there are very seriously good member benefits. Okay, bye-bye.